Alrighty there. What's going on, YouTube? H2O Army, joined with Brooklyn Hardscapes Kevin, hanging out. He's back after, I feel like it's been like a 5-week hiatus.
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Has it only been 3 weeks? It feels like much longer than that. Anyway, Kevin's back. We're going to be talking about 5 tips to make your first aquascape. So basically like really easy beginner's steps to help you make a really good aquascape in the beginning. We're also streaming on Instagram. You can find Kevin at Brooklyn Hardscape. You know, I realized today it's without an S.
Yeah, there's just no S.
Yeah, because I started this new thing on Instagram where I'm tagging all the accounts that I like, so that way like people can follow like all the other accounts that I think are really cool.
Have you tagged me?
Yeah, I tagged you in it.
Oh,
No, I didn't. So you're not tagged in the photo. You're in the description. So it's So I was looking at. So, a brief side topic. With the Forerunner, I've gotten into the off-roading Forerunner community now.
Oh God!
And I've already like plotted out the next 3 years of modifications I want to do to the truck.
It's an addiction.
Oh my God! It's already like I've been watching these videos on YouTube of these guys that go off-roading in these things. Like I could go off-roading stock. I don't really need to do anything. Like I can't do major things, but I could go off-roading in it. So yeah, so I've been following their Instagram pages, and I'm picking up little tips from their community, the way they have their whole thing structured, and I'm like, well, that's a really good idea. So now I'm taking bits and pieces that they do to make my Instagram even better.
Help a brother out. I need tips. Starting my own Facebook, or not Facebook, Instagram, and
well, you have Brooklyn
all that social, yeah, all that social media. I'm gonna dive right in.
Kevin's gonna get it done. So. Eddie's Goldfish on Instagram. If anybody's watching, you can go check him out. He's doing a giveaway for a $25 gift card for our shop, so go check him out, give him a follow. It's Eddie's Goldfish, Eddie's Goldies on Instagram. So yeah, I got Pizza Bites. This is the last one. Oh, you got it up over there? Okay.
Yeah, I can never figure out how to get the comments up though.
I
got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Old maintenance.
So Kevin, what have you been doing for the last 3 weeks?
I've been working. No professional gigs. I'm also an illustrator, so I've been working on some illustration projects. Took the back room of my apartment. I'm making into a full-time aquascaping studio. So
nice.
Doing some cool stuff there.
And you were telling me you're going to start live streaming every Thursday now?
Every Thursday, 9 p.m.
So Kevin's gonna start streaming on what is it, on Brooklyn Hardscapes?
On YouTube?
Do you have it / Brooklyn Hardscapes, or is it a separate link?
It's just Brooklyn Hardscape on YouTube.
But is it? What's the link though? Is the link? I don't think you have. You probably don't have it yet because you need a certain amount of subscribers to get.
Yeah, I only have like under 100. Okay, under 200.
So yeah, you probably don't have it yet. So you need to. Nookrin. Brooklyn Hardscape. Do you have it? No, it's not there yet. Okay, so once you reach a certain point, you can actually get the custom URL. So
thanks.
You're welcome. So if you search Brooklyn Hardscape or go on his Instagram, and you can find it there as well. He's gonna be live streaming.
I'm gonna do. The goal is right now 4 tanks, and then the grow out for the 4 tanks over the course of the next 3 months.
Dry starts or?
No. I was supposed to do my first scape on Thursday, but unfortunately my tank isn't in yet. So I'll probably be using a breakdown of the tank real quick and have something ready. Focus on equipment, I think, is going to be Thursday as well.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. What are you talking about? I just started. I would like to know, please. I don't know what we were talking about when you typed that comment, but we're going to be talking about 5 tips to make your first aquascape. I should actually make it better. Type that better. So, off topic, how's the baby? The baby's good. She's cranky the last 3 days, though. Has not been sleeping during the day, and not really sleeping at night either, so, yeah.
Welcome to being a daddy.
Yeah. Alright, so 5 tips to make your first aquascape better. What's one tip that you can think of? We'll do a tip and then talk about it and then do another tip.
Planning.
Right.
First one is planning. Always just drawing. Even if you're not even an artist, drawing things out, simple. Don't just lay the soil out, throw some rocks in, and plant. Definitely do some planning. There's things you need to think about. How the water is going to flow, where you're going to put the intake and outtake, filter, getting that all ready, making sure you have everything all ready to go. Plant, and then the second tip would be to go in hand with the first would be plant heavy. Plant as much as you can.
Right. So it's funny that you say that you don't need to be an artist to draw out a layout, because when I was figuring out like some of my old tanks that I was doing, I'd actually just draw I'd bubble a section that it's like, okay, well, this section is going to be, the wood's going to be here. I'm going to put a patch of crypts here. I'm going to put this plant here, and just like circle it. Like, you didn't even need to draw.
No, you don't need to draw.
You just need to figure it, picture it in your head what you want it to look like, and that way like going into it, okay, this is where I need this plant to be to cover the filter maybe, so that way it's not shown or stuff like that.
I mean, drawing it out also, like, sometimes you'll have a really good idea in your head. You'll draw it out, and you'll look at it and be like, oh no, this is terrible. I've done it many, many times. Oh, yeah, this is an awesome idea, and then I'll draw it out and be like, no, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So that's really important.
Yeah. So next would be plant heavy. And
plant as heavy as possible.
That would be ideal.
Yeah. Even sometimes when I'll do a scape, even a professional scape, when I get something going, I will put in a bunch of stems that I know that I'll be taking out in 6 weeks, which also goes back to planning. But just get as much plant mass as you can. So sometimes algae will start at the beginning, and you'll never be able to get rid of it. BBA is a really good example. It's my enemy. It consistently pops up in every tank that I do, especially at home.
I find it goes away though if once you get things leveled out, if
right.
you hydrogen peroxide it to remove it, and then you have your levels correct, I find it goes away. Like,
it does.
I haven't seen it pop up. Like, I had it in my 55, and it's just gone.
I mean, that also has to do with plant mass and nutrients, and so avoid that by plant heavy. Even if get a bunch of cheap stems, throw them in there, and then sell them on an auction site later. It's just as much plant mass as you can, eating up as much as you can.
Yeah. The plant. When you have a lot of plants, it's going to cut down on algae growth, because when you have a lot of plants, they absorb the light that's going into the tank. They absorb the nutrients that are in the tank. They do all these things. What was I going to say? They also help to clear up the water too.
Yep. Clear up the water, control any kind of fluctuations you might have. Making the tank suitable for fish sooner. The more you have, the quicker your tank cycles, in a sense. Not as far as the bacterial colony goes, but making the tank stable. Bacterial colony happens a lot faster than people realize. It's just like everything else that's happening needs to level out.
Yeah, I think that the plants to help it make it stabilize it a lot faster. I think that's what it is, But plants, when when you have plant mass and there's particles in the water, like I was dealing with in Flex over here, because I made the smart idea of pouring aqua soil in while the tank was full, not knowing how dusty it is. First time using aqua soil. So needless to say, there was many water changes done, and it still was not clear. So I decided, screw it, I'm just going to plant it. And once I planted it, now it's crystal clear, because all the particles hit the leaves of the plants and then wind up falling to the substrate. Or if you just had nothing there, they're suspended in the liquid and they don't really...
You can vacuum it up later.
Yeah.
Definitely, number 3 in the list is if you're getting advice and materials, know them. Know the reputation. Go in questioning. Even the most reputable dealers, and sellers have some issues with the products. Like, for instance, some of the stone before Aquatic Experience, that was I was actually just using some little bits and pieces I found, pieces that were, about that big, that are now like...
Yeah. So not all stone is created equal, and...
No, that is absolutely true. A vinegar bath dissolved a good chunk of the stone from AE. I just got some black hillstone from another dealer. And I was cleaned it. Couldn't get it clean. Decided I was going to dip it in vinegar, and again, a third of the mass disappeared.
Yeah. Jeez.
Black hillstone, and I love that stuff. So I can show you the video later. I don't know if I send it to you.
What are the
orange bucket with the black hillstone bubbling?
Well, that was the one that I had asked you. I think the one person messaged me like, "What was this stone?" And then you sent me the video of it in the thing bubbling.
It's definitely not inert. No.
Okay. Yeah.
It has a coating on it, and then once the coating wears off.
All right. Yeah. So always do your research and find out. Ask people reviews on what you're looking at getting. You could ask the Facebook groups. Is always good.
Especially also if you're getting advice from people, make sure you ask the same question to multiple people.
Yeah.
I never have a problem with it when people ask me for advice, and then they're like, well, I asked somebody else, and that gives you a chance to have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know everything, and sometimes I actually learn stuff from people who have asked questions of other people, and they come back at me, and I question my own knowledge, and then I'll like research and realize that I might have made a mistake.
Oh yeah, I'm like every day. It feels like I'm going back to something that I thought was the right way 3 years ago. It's like, wait, no, what I thought then is way different than I think now. And
things change, and the technology is changing, and science is changing, especially in plants. With the LED technology, which is still the technology is outpacing the science in a lot of ways. Yeah. So we're discovering new things on how plants process sugars and
Well, a good example of like things that I thought when I was first getting into the hobby, it was like, oh well, to have high tech stems, you need a high tech tank. While this is true for most cases, the tank upstairs, the giant freaking dragonstone that you did, I threw in a bunch of high tech stems like Rotella Macandra, just a bunch of things. They're all growing no CO2, but they transition to like a greener form. They're no longer their reds or their pinks. So, that's something that when in the very beginning I would have thought wasn't even possible.
I mean, it's all about different things. I have a paludarium that's like I'm growing it out for another paludarium in the future. Just gotta find the right stand. But right now I have like Rotella Hurrah in it, and no CO2. It's just a heavy gas exchange, and that is fire engine red. I don't do anything to it other than throwing a little fertilizer. Because there's this waterfall coming down in 6 different places. It's a huge gas exchange. A lot of CO2 is lost, but it's in an enclosed environment, so it's still getting its CO2. It's you can grow anything anyway. Yeah. Except for in the dark.
True.
Which I did have a client once ask me. I don't know if I ever told you about that.
What?
I had a very, very wealthy, very successful man. I did his tank. Kept having problems. He kept coming over, and everything was mush. And I kept, I did 3 tanks. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Finally, I came over one day, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Well, I don't like the light on when I'm watching TV." And I was like, "Well, I set the lights so that you could see the tank when you were home. Do you want me to set it at a different time?" He's like, "No, I've just been turning it off. Sometimes I forget to turn it on."
Oh, God.
And I was like, "Well, then how are the plants supposed to grow?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, the plants need the light." He was like, "Plants need light?"
No. I just want something that looks pretty. Necessarily.
Yeah, he didn't realize that his plants need light.
Oh, that's a funny one. That is a funny one.
He makes more money in 1 year than I'll probably ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah, this is how it goes. Oh, God.
It's one of my favorite stories.
All right, so that's 3. What's number 4?
Number 4 would be pick your lighting. Pick your lighting well.
Lighting is hands down the most important thing.
Yeah, I'd say lighting. Well, it's a triumvirate.
Well, it's lighting and then substrate.
Lighting, fertilizer, substrate.
Yeah,
that's my 3 most important.
But if you don't have, if you have a really weak light and you putting in fertilizer,
it's gonna get algae.
Yeah, you're not gonna grow the plant. So it doesn't need to be a super high-end light, but it does need to be a decent enough light that will work for your tank size.
I mean, There's some pretty good deals on lights too now, but also don't get fooled. Like on Amazon, I had a chance to test what is it, Nicru? Do you know what I'm talking about? Nicru light.
People say they're really good though.
It was such a disappointing light.
Yeah.
If you're growing Anubias at 12 inches, I would say go for it.
Right. Well, it depends on the tank. So, like, if you have, a small tank, like that 10-gallon behind us, and you're growing really simple plants, you go with a really simple light. Yeah. But if you're trying to do one of these high-tech setups...
I wouldn't even do... it was 20 par at 18 inches.
Well, what's that tank? That's 12 inches?
Yeah, about 16.
Is that? No.
Nah, 14 maybe?
No.
It's definitely over 12.
The 40 is 16. There's no way that's...
No, the tank I made for you is 12 inches.
That's 12. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's 12 inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Flex, right?
No, not the Flex. The other one.
Oh, the JBJ tank?
Yeah, the JBJ.
Yeah, it's 12 inches.
Yeah. So, you don't need... you could put one of these shop lights on it.
You could. Yeah, 12 inches is ideal.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite depth for a tank. But, it's still too low. If you really want good growth. If you want one leaf a month out of your Anubias, that's the light. Yeah. And if that's what you want, that's fine. I'm not going to criticize.
But if you plant heavy, if you go in and you plant heavy, like we did the goldfish tank, right? You put in a ton of Anubis right off the bat. I haven't had to do anything to it. The tank's self-sustained, and the Anubis immediately filled in because you put so much of it in there. And to me, I don't even pay attention if I have a new leaf every week.
You have a good light on it too.
Yeah, but now we have all the floaters, so it's barely getting any light.
No, it's true.
So, but they're still alive. So
I understand what you're saying. You're probably getting one. You're probably literally getting one leaf a month. Maybe.
Yeah.
But you planted heavy, so.
So you don't even. It's not even an issue. It's not like I planted 3 little pieces and now I'm waiting for it to fill in all that. It's because
I'm very unhappy with it. I don't like the color spectrum. I didn't like the way it looked. It was I put that in my Kessel category.
Right.
Because we all know I hate Kessel.
You hate Kessel?
Even though I'm using 2 of their lights in my own, I'm a Paludarian, but
Kessel was nice enough to send this.
Well, hopefully Kessel isn't watching.
Well, they might be. Listen, they didn't pay me to say this or pay me to show it. They gave me the light for free to test it out and see. So, because my idea behind this is not a reasonable cost. What would it be? A reasonable budget light for a large tank.
No.
Because you would need so many.
I wouldn't put that in on anything deeper than a 12-inch, maybe.
Yeah. So if you have a shallow tank that you could get, a gooseneck high enough, this would probably light it and be effective.
Here's my other issue with Kessel. And
this is not to bash Kessel, but I think every light has its application where it's going to most excel at.
How much is that light? It's $200?
I think so, something like
about
that.
$200, and then the controller, which works like a first-generation iPod, is another $100, and now you're up to $300 for a light that isn't very powerful, that is prone to problems. My own experiences, I have 2 Kessel A160 Amazons.
Right.
I've gone through 7 of them. 7 times I've returned them. And 3 controllers, because they keep failing, the ACI chip keeps going.
Now what does the controller do? Because I see this has like a dimming... It has intensity and color. So what is the...
The color isn't color. It's literally like how much bluer can you make it.
Okay.
So it goes from a warm, and then when you put the color up to a blue.
Cool, okay. But what does the controller do then?
That's what the controller does.
But this has it on... This shows...
Right, and it's basically a $100 timer with a ramp. It's a $100 ramp timer.
Oh, so what is it, like a wireless thing that you can control?
No, it's not even wireless or hooked up to your Wi-Fi.
Ah.
You physically need to... Each light has to be plugged in, and then the controller needs to be plugged in, and it's not Wi-Fi compatible. Okay. It would have been awesome 15 years ago.
Right. So, what I was just about to say, in that sense, then it's a little dated, because now we have all this technology.
Yeah, but the controller is only 3 years old.
Yeah.
If you want to spend the money, you want to spend $200, get the Aqua illumination. I mean, it has built-in Wi-Fi. It's one plug. It has an iPhone and an Android app.
Have Kessel announced anything like
No, they're
to be updated? I mean, because I know, somebody actually mentioned, what do you think about the Aqua illumination light?
I love it. I'm using the saltwater light, and I'm growing things like a champ.
Why saltwater?
Because that was the first one that came out.
Okay. So you haven't tried the freshwater?
I have tried the freshwater.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I have the saltwater light, and the saltwater light is growing plants.
Which grows better?
I just got the freshwater. I don't.
Okay, so
I'm
you
not
don't
sure.
know yet. All right.
I don't like to give reviews on lights until I've had it for a couple months.
No. But I mean, I think that there is an application for everything, to a certain degree. So
yeah, sure.
once we, test it out and see, I think it's going to be good on like a cube tank. That's what I think. A cube.
I mean, that's the pendant lights are best.
Yeah,
on.
a cube shallow tank. But like I've seen other YouTubers and other people have Kessels on, 150-gallon tanks. You you're thinking the lighting on that tank alone is probably $800-900.
It's not just cost effective.
It's out of most people's budgets.
Yeah.
So
and it's a very unwieldy light. I mean, the gooseneck is fun. You can do it at all kinds of different angles. And,
right.
But I have found that the gooseneck, if you're not careful, I've had a lot of clients do this. This has happened to me. The clamps in the gooseneck will chip your glass if you're a little too rough with it. I have had tanks break at the silicone. I'm killing you right now, aren't I?
What?
You don't care that I can bash Kessel?
Listen, this is freedom of speech. I told Kessel, I'm like, listen, if the light's shit, I'm gonna say it's shit.
Oh,
so
you cursed.
Oh, that's all right. I don't know if shit gets you demonetized, even if it does. I mean, the 30 cents that I make off the live stream.
Right.
At this point, now my gas price just went up by buying this huge truck. So now it's like, okay, that 30 cents does nothing for me.
It doesn't mean something anyway. Yeah.
It doesn't even get me freaking a mile.
Wow, we're building up comments.
Yeah, we're getting there. We'll start answering comments here. But no, like honestly though, it's like, yeah. To me, I like the design of the Kessel. I think it looks cool. Like that's one appealing factor. It's a sleek looking light. But is it effective? Does it make sense? Is it cost effective? That's,
For $40 less, you can get a light that's twice as powerful and has better controls, where you can actually control each color individually. It's still a RAM timer, but the RAM timer is your phone, not some block of plastic and glass.
Then again, I really like these $10 freaking Wi-Fi outlets now.
Right.
That's what when I start setting up everything. That's what I'm just gonna do instead of these timer blocks that they have. These the power strips with the timers built in. I'm just gonna do the $10 Wi-Fi timers.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna log in to my.
We spent a lot of time on lighting.
It's one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah. Well, it is literally the most important thing to a planted tank.
So I'm just logged into my Aqua illumination light right now. I'm logged in. Like, all right, I'm 30 miles away. And let's see.
Let's push a bunch of buttons.
No, don't do that. But like these are all the colors.
Show them.
So
show them. Show them.
Oh,
show them so they can see.
Can you see?
Can they see?
Like this is why it's better than Kessel.
A little closer. A little closer. Yeah. There you go.
So that's my setting right now on my light. It's significantly more powerful. It's only 3/4 the way amped up, and it's at 38 watts. I can control all these different color spectrums. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different colors, and I'm not limited to 5 different settings that are impossible to program. You make one mistake at the end, it all resets. You got to do it again. I hate them. I hate Kessel. Junk, overpriced junk.
Kevin might be a little hangry today.
Maybe a little bit.
All right.
I just called it. I got called Kevin Kelly, or was it Kevin the Angry Aquascaper Kelly a little while ago?
He is. All right. You lost your Snapple. You got it. All right. So I actually had it, and then now I lost my train of thought.
Number 5 is patience.
Yeah, I would say that's good. Patience. I was actually going to say, in my opinion, I know everybody says go get the largest tank possible.
No, go small.
I'm actually a fan of nano tanks. Just for the simple fact is they're going to be cheaper to maintain. They're going to be cheaper to set up. Because if you think about it, people say go as big as possible. Okay, so let's just say 55 gallon is it. Despite them being the worst tanks to do anything in, other than like have an angelfish or discus tank, they're still absolutely horrible. Like that's the only purpose that I could see for them, right?
Right.
Or maybe like a cichlid tank, but even that I feel like it's too small. But it's a common one. So let's just say they go with 55. If you're gonna do a decent plant substrate, you're looking at what is it? 100 pounds probably worth of substrate, roughly.
Yeah, about that.
So you're spending, what's the bag of, let's just say sea-chem fluoride, $20. That's 15 pounds, I think.
Okay.
So you're going to be spending, so that's 30 for 40, and then 80. So you're going to be spending like $150 on substrate right off the bat to put in good substrate, like moderately good substrate, not even going aqua soil. Which aqua soil, then you're talking double the price. So you're at $400.
Like $45 a bag.
Yeah, so you got $400 for substrate on a large tank like that. Not to mention the lighting, then, because the lighting, like we said, you could put a shop light on a freaking short tank and be fine. You could still grow, you could grow okay lights, or the 60-watt LED that I put on the other tank.
Yeah.
Like that was a $20 LED floodlight, that I put on a 10-gallon tank, and it's growing plants that normally wouldn't grow.
You're like seeing it in the window when I come up.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but you have that, and then then just the equipment. You don't have to buy a huge filter. You don't have to buy a huge heater. Your plant cost and your hardscape cost is going to be a whole lot less because, if you get a 20-gallon tank, let's just say that's what I feels like the right size. And you get a 20-gallon tank. Your hardscape, you're maybe looking at 20 pounds of stone, or and a couple pieces of driftwood. You're not going to go crazy, and then plants shouldn't be that bad.
I will add one more because I'm always worried of people giving advice that only do big tanks. When you're starting out and you're trying to figure out if this is something you want to do, you want to stay small. There's a couple of reasons for this. Money, cost-wise, it's a lot cheaper.
I feel that cost-wise plays into it, unless you have.
Well, there's more.
Unless you have a ridiculous amount of expendable income, which I'm sure
Right.
like 90% of the people out there watching don't.
Yeah.
So,
Also, if things go wrong, in a large tank, things can go wrong and it snowballs into a lot of other things, and you'll never figure out what it goes wrong with sometimes.
Mhm.
Unless you're like me and you're testing and staring at your tank for hours. But smaller tanks, when things go wrong, they go wrong fast. You have a bunch of nitrates, explosion in your tank, you see it within 12 hours, so this is also like a teaching experience. You can see when things are happening, you recognize it faster. How do you manage CO2? CO2 happens faster in a smaller tank. You don't have to pump as much. Learn how the plants go so you don't have to use the drop checker anymore. These are all really important. Starting small is always the best way to go.
yeah. And I feel like if we go back to your patience too, if you set up the tank the proper way without putting fish in it at first, just letting it do its thing, then you don't have to really worry about all those things that people say you should get a bigger tank because if something happens, it takes a longer amount of time to build up, like too much CO2, too much nitrates. If you just let the tank set up properly, whether it's 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, then you don't have to worry about those things. And you could do a small tank and not have those issues.
Right.
Because I see the main reason people say do a bigger tank is that you're going to have more time to figure out issues if they arise.
But sometimes by the time the issues happen, it's too late.
Yeah.
The bigger tank it is, it becomes a real snowball. And I've been down this road. The best example I can give you is a Wallstead tank that I had for years. And I didn't realize that I was having a methane buildup problem until it literally bubbled up. And I came home and my entire house was reeking of sulfur. And all my fish were dead and my tank was just a big brown muck.
Right.
And but there was no warning. It was 55 gallon. There really was no warning. There were no signs, no stressed fish. That something like that happened in a smaller tank, you would physically see it. Like I look back now and I realize that there was literally a bubble,
Right.
causing the substrate to rise.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much. Those are good tips. I think we'll start answering questions now.
Yeah, let me check it out. What's going on YouTube?
So if you guys got questions now, I'll scroll back up and try and get to a couple of them. But I saw a bunch of people asking questions, drop them now, and we'll get to them.
002, favorite wood is Manzanita. I love Manzanita. I've been playing with some other woods too now. I'm trying to get...
I personally like spiderwood. I think spiderwood has so much character and so many different uses.
It's difficult to work with.
It is difficult because, well, one thing that I saw you do, like, it never even occurred to me, just break pieces off that don't work with the wood. But, like, you were literally sitting there just breaking pieces off that didn't fit with what you were trying to do with it. So I'm like, well, why didn't I think of that?
See the piece I'm helping Christian build.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Taking some tips from Razio.
I don't know who that is.
No, he's a really good skater. You should check out his stuff. Yeah.
Does he have Instagram?
He has Instagram and all that stuff.
Because that's the only if you don't have Instagram, you are not a valid.
I think it's private though.
Oh, then he's not valid to me. When you get any more water lettuce, I'll actually probably be updating inventory tonight. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to mention. We put Repashy food on the website. Now we have Repashy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kinds?
So I only ordered a couple of each. I have, they're all 6 ounces because I figured that was that's the ones that I bought to test out Repashy before, like, I started selling it because I wanted to, like, I saw everybody saying, oh, Repashy's great food or whatever. Like, alright, I ordered a couple bottles off, Amazon or whatever, and then I was like, let me test this out, and the fish love it. Like, it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
In minutes. It's, like, gone. Nothing, not like other foods that will, like, sink and then they'll, like, be looking around. Like, they find it and it's gone.
I use that in bug bites for my explanation of a spora tank, and it's right next to my bed. Like, literally, it's a 12-gallon long, and it goes the length of my bed. And whenever I feed them Repashy, I like watching them. It's like Al Green playing in the background.
Yeah, so they gobbled it up. But I got Morningwood, I got Soylent Green, Super Green, Grub Pie, Community Plus, Super Gold, which is for goldfish and koi. Okay. And I think that's the majority of all the fish ones that they have that I saw. So.
You make good stuff. I like the bottom feeder stuff a lot.
Oh, there was one that I didn't get. It was another bottom feeder. So the Morning Woods for, like, plecos, I guess that has, like, a good fibrous content. And then there's another one that's meant for other, like, bottom dwellers. That's the only one that I didn't get. But I think you could use the Morning Wood. I mean, the majority of them, they'll all be good for all the fish, I feel like. Yeah, they have different additives for different reasons, but I feel like you could... and when I say additives, I mean ingredients, like different ingredients. Like well, I want to make sure everybody...
They don't count.
Yeah, well, don't say that, Kevin. So we're selling Repashy now, and also I didn't get a chance to put them up on the website today, but I'm gonna try and do it later on tonight if I get a moment. We have Kotappa leaves, guava leaves, dried banana leaves, Kotappa logs. And we have Kotappa leaves all different sizes too, because I got large ones from somebody, and they're huge. They're like this big. They just don't fit in my tank. Like, those are meant for like 300 gallons and up. Like, they're huge. So I have nano ones that are like this big, like the size of maybe like a golf ball. So those will easily fit in most tanks. Medium size, which are, I don't know, the size of Kevin's fist probably. If that's a measurement. Yeah, there you go. For size comparison. And then I got the extra large too.
Okay.
But yeah, we got those, dried banana leaves, guava leaves, amaranth leaves, I think they're called. There's something for shrimp. Shrimp really like them.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple different things. So we got all those. Those will be up on the website. Oh, and I got cholla wood too.
Cholla wood.
I like cholla wood. You don't like cholla wood? I think it's cool. Kevin doesn't like cholla wood.
Aesthetically, I don't like it. It has a purpose.
I want you to do a scape with cholla wood.
I mean, I'll scape with anything.
Right. So those will all be up on the website later, as well as snails. We're going to start selling pond snails, assassin snails, Malaysian trumpet snails, and olive nerite snails. Those will all be on the website soon. I figured out a good way to ship them, I believe, so they'll be good. You need those leaves? Those leaves will be there. Can you grow Repashy? Well, Repashy's not something you grow, it's a food. It's actually pretty cool, because what I did is I bought an ice cube container, a silicone one that it's flexible.
Oh, you just freeze it?
Yeah, I literally poured it in there, and just stuck it in the freezer. It came with a lid. to the ice cube tray, and then you just pop it out using the silicone mold. It's great. It's so easy. The only thing I wish I got a big like they're regular sized ice cubes almost. I thought it was miniature ice cubes because I was going for smaller molds that would be easier to portion out. So that
I've done that. I've done that with bloodworm, like my own mixture of foods, like bloodworms, blackworms. Yeah. The only problem was that I also like to freeze excess coffee and have coffee ice cubes in my iced coffee. And I've made a mistake.
What?
They're both brown. I'm tired.
Oh my god, you.
Bloodworms don't taste very good.
No. Oh god, I actually made my own vegetable fish food once. I put it in a plastic bag and made it really thin like chips. Put it in the freezer. Fish seemed to love it. Did you ship today? Yep. We shipped I think like 30 packages this morning. Thanks, Waterbox. Yeah, Cholowood is good for shrimp. Actually, so the reason why we got all these things is for one, shrimp, but also the Kotappa Leaves and all that are good for fish that need lower pH, like betas, and any other fish that really like smaller or lower pH. So they help lower it naturally, so you don't have to add like additives to bring it down. Coolest and rarest Ludwigia species? Well, I just got Ludwigia white again. Got pretty good amount on that. I also got Rotala variegated and Rotala Japan red.
Oh.
And I got a bunch of other things. Yeah.
Maybe I'll light your kitchen on fire and go shopping while you're putting it out.
No, I don't like that idea. Alright, let's see. What are some non-CO2 plants that are big and bushy? I just got a 55 gallon and I would like some big plants for it. Well, I'm sorry, Alex, that you bought a 55 because they suck.
Yeah, the worst gas exchange tank.
I say that as I own one, and it is my pride and joy because I actually really like the scape now. Like, it finally... Before I started selling plants, I had a really good scape. I loved the way it came out. It was like a piece of driftwood with a bunch of river rocks around it, and like plants were growing out of control. It was great. But they're absolutely horrible to scape and to begin with.
I mean, this bad gas exchange, things get trapped in there, and it's horrible maintenance.
Yeah. But I really like the one that I have now. With that said, I would never ever buy a 55 gallon again. But it has served me well for 4 years now that I've had it. So
it's time to smash it.
It's time to smash it. We will be taking it outside and smash it. But plants that work well for 55 gallons that are big and bushy. So you could do water sprite. Gets really big and bushy. We also have an Anacris, Hornwort, Parrot's feather, which actually I didn't know this, is a invasive stream/pond plant.
Yeah, it clogs up the streams.
And it can get like 4 feet long.
Oh, it got bigger than that.
Well, I mean, just from what, like, massively long.
Yeah.
I was like, holy, because it's been growing out of control, and this tank, like, it shot up. Literally, it grew like 3 inches in a day.
That's why you're not supposed to flush it. You're supposed to let it dry out and throw it away.
Yeah, so, but we put it in here, and I didn't know it grew like that fast. It was literally gaining 3 inches a day. Like, crazy amounts. Like, it was already, like, we got it in, it's maybe this tall. By like day 3, it's across the tank. Like,
it's insane. Yeah, I hate that stuff.
It's insane how fast it grows. But it's a beautiful looking plant. If it grew slower, it would be great. But
or you just make a big bush out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
55 gallon.
Yeah, I mean, it would work great for a 55 gallon. It's just you're gonna have to trim it every couple days. So if you don't mind trimming, this is something else that I've been, going back and forth with people on the forums about. They're like wanting to go high tech. Or they're asking about high tech or whatever. They're like, "Oh, can I get away without CO2 with high tech plants or whatever?" I saw some guy post it. I'm like, honestly, go low tech. It's less maintenance because you don't have to trim as often. You don't have to do much. There's less problems I feel with low tech. But I enjoy less maintenance.
I know.
I enjoy no maintenance. We all know that. Well, me and you know that.
I mean, that's why you put a little money aside and just pay somebody to do the maintenance for you.
This is true.
There are a lot of minions out there you can find.
There is.
I mean, he's got Jake.
I have 2 minions. Luckily, I don't have to maintain the tanks. I have 2 minions that do this.
I need a minion.
You have one.
I don't have a minion.
His name is Fishy.
Oh, no. He's not my minion. He's my peer.
No, he's your minion. Ludwig White. Is it hard to grow? Does it need CO2 to stay white? Yes. So it's very difficult to grow. Grows very slow, at least in my past experience with it.
I've had varying experiences. I've only had it grow fast under T5s. It does not... I mean, it'll grow under LEDs. It'll stay white. But it's slow. After about a year under an LED light, it started turning green in one of my tanks.
Well, so I had it in one of these grow-out tanks when I first had it. When we first started, like, setting up in my old apartment.
I remember when I first started doing it, you still had some struggling.
I think.
In that tank.
Yeah.
Last one, yeah.
So, I don't know if the Fluval 2.0s are strong enough to grow it. So, I put it in this time around that I got it. It's in the 55.
Okay.
Which has the BML, which is a way better light.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I'll take stems that were in these tanks and put them in the 55, and they'll be completely different. Like, just that light alone just influences so much about the plant.
This goes back to my tangent about lights all the time. People don't understand. Lights are really, really important. Yeah. Don't skimp on the lights. If you're going to blow money, you can grow high-tech plants in sand.
I was just about to say, you're better off putting all the money towards a light and using regular sand or gravel substrate. Like,
how you spend money should go light, substrate,
for
plants.
Well, yeah, plants.
Like, that should be your top 3 what you spend money on. If you have a rim tank and it's a Petco $1 per gallon sale, just don't tell anybody. Don't ever show anybody the rim. That's how I feel.
You could crop it out in most pictures.
Yeah.
Listen, you could still get away with a rim. I mean, if you have a beautiful... There's plenty of people on Instagram that have beautiful tanks with rims.
I know. I'm so embarrassed for them.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Listen.
For me, I like the rimless. That's my personal taste. But yeah, don't be like those 3 things though. Like, I cannot express. And light is so important. Getting a good light. I just saw somebody just bought a 16-inch neck crew, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, I mean, I think it was on a 20-gallon long, so that's a short tank.
Is it still? I'm really disappointed. If I haven't thrown it away, I will be.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll take it.
I mean, look, I tell people all the time, the best beginner light that I've ever had, I've tried a bunch of different ones, the original generation Planet Plus, Finex Planet Plus.
Really? I was not a fan of the Finex lights.
I was able to grow anything under that light.
I bought... Hold on. I don't know which one it was. Let me look it up. I bought one of the Finex lights when I first got the 55 because that was the best light I was told at the time.
Jake's gonna be my minion. I'm stealing him.
Okay, well you can have him on every day that I don't have him. So Monday,
yeah, Jake, come to Brooklyn.
Monday,
come shoot videos with me.
Wednesdays and Saturdays and Fridays are all yours. Let's see.
I'll see you Thursday, Jake.
Let's see. When did I start tanks? Was it 2015? Finex. We're gonna go back to my Amazon history. I spelled Finex wrong.
Oh, thank you, Jake. Yeah. 80 to 100 par in the 55. I agree with you.
Finex. So I bought the Fuge Ray Planet Plus. That's what I had on the 55. Not good.
Well, that's a 55 too. That's not strong enough to penetrate. You would need like 2 or 3 on your 55.
Well, it still wouldn't penetrate. Well, like it would give you a better spread. It wouldn't penetrate deeper though.
I mean, you can double up and it'll get down there. Yeah.
Well. Yeah, I guess. In some ways.
It's cumulative. Light is cumulative in any liquid.
But then I got the BML.
Right, and the BML is a far superior light. I'm talking for a light that's affordable and easy to begin with that you can grow with.
But I feel like the Fluvils are better, though, than the Finex.
I mean...
At least...
Amazon just had a sale on Fluval, or Finex 36 Planet Plus.
Yeah.
Was $86. It's a 36-inch light for $86. That's really powerful.
Have you seen the new Fluval 3.0?
I have not had a chance to get my hands on one.
I haven't either. I don't think it's worth it, though. I mean, I
I mean, I have 2 of the 2.0s, and none of them are on my tanks. They're they're over my my bonsai and cloches.
Yeah. Well, what the hell is a BML? A BML is like a dinosaur. You will not find it, but they are great.
Unicorn.
It's a unicorn. There you go. A BML is a unicorn. It's a company that was was making aquarium lights and weed lights for people that grow weed. And there's a lot more money in weed, so they stopped making aquarium lights. But BML, if you could ever find one, I saw somebody the other day selling one on the Facebook groups.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
$300. I almost jumped at it too. I was like, ugh.
There are companies that, I mean, BML is great.
They're light.
But there are lights that are coming out now that are also just as good.
But then again, if they stopped making them, what, 3 years ago now? They literally stopped like a couple months after I bought mine, and I was so upset because I was like, I'm about to start growing plants. I was gonna order, I would have ordered one for every one of these tanks.
I mean, they still make lights. I'm curious to get my hands on one of the. I mean, they have. Have you looked at the lights they're making now?
Well, what I'm probably gonna go in next is the SB Reef Lights.
Okay. I mean, they're okay.
Bro, 300 watts of fucking.
Yeah, I don't like the way they look.
Oh, I'm not even. Mine is about performance right now. I want to grow these plants like they're on steroids. Like,
this is the difference between Justin and I. I'm all about aesthetics. I want an entire package. I want the light to look nice. I want the tank to look nice.
Like the Twin Star is nice for aesthetics. Like if I was gonna do a show tank, I would do a Twin Star. Probably.
Yeah.
Like if it was gonna be something like in a living room.
I like that Twin Star model. I had the one before that, and unfortunately, myself and 2 of my clients, there's assed out. No. There was some kind of wiring problem.
Yeah.
So.
Well, luckily that one's been running strong.
Yeah. We gotta flood that tank.
Yeah. Everybody's been asking about that too.
I know like, there isn't the tension hasn't stayed on the plastic.
No, but everything's still good.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we'll go in. We'll throw some more plants in there.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, but as far as growth, I don't think you could get a better light for the price as far as the SB Reefs go. That cover the amount of space that they cover. Yeah. Because the 75s, when we set those up, SB Reef Lights.
You should have SB light. You should have them send me a light and I'll give them a review.
Well, I can wholesale them now. Or I can get them wholesale, which means I can stock them. So I'm going to get one, test it, and then if it does...
How you test it versus how I test it are 2 different things.
Well...
I use things called science.
I look at it, is it growing this difficult plant? It is. That works for me. No, the colors that they bring out is just absolutely amazing. I can't get over how good it is.
Speaking of colors, Kevin Rosenberg asked, he's got a giant tank. Wait, where is it? Let's see. I just scored 135 gallon with stand, 72 inches long. What would you recommend for lighting? It's 24 inches high. Me personally, I would say get a quad T5. It's a really deep tank. The LEDs that you're going to have to stack on that to get some really, really heavy, good growth. In the end, the wattage is still going to be the same.
Me, I would tell you SB Reef Lights.
Well, yeah, you're
without even having them, just because the people that I know that do have them, their tanks look amazing.
I mean, here's my argument. Like, the wattage that I have in the T5s, the same tank, tend to be less than the wattage of the LEDs to get the same kind of growth and color.
Here's the thing, though. The LED, the SB Reef Lights, the people that have shown me their tanks, they're not even running it at full capacity.
All right, I have no opinion on it because I haven't used one.
Like they're told only started on 15% because that's how strong that they could be.
I'll take it all the way to 100.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do right off the bat. We're gonna set up the Dutch tank, and it's just gonna be two 16-inch models.
You gotta get Fishy out here to do a Dutch tank. He does better Dutch tanks than me.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna do it, but.
Oh, all right.
I'm actually. I think I could do one.
Yeah.
It'll look really good. I'm gonna have you do the other one though.
I mean, Dutch is the oldest form of aquascaping, technically. Beautiful. My brain wanders too much doing it, and I can't.
Yeah, for a large tank, though, T5s is a good option. Probably cheaper than the SB Reefs. I don't know what a good T5 costs?
I mean, I just got a 36-inch T5 fixture, but because there are like dinosaurs, it was $55, and it's a decent fixture, built-in timer. And then I use Geisman bulbs as dual fixture. And,
how often do you replace bulbs?
Well, that's a preference. People can go a year without replacing them, but I go every 6 months. But and $18 a pop, so it's $36 every 6 months.
So it's $72 a year. In 2 years you have in 2 years you have the same price as the LED light. Not even a year. The fixture and the bulbs. And you don't have to replace them.
Yeah, well, I like quality over just sending.
Whoa! What are you trying to say? That the SB Reef Lights aren't
Look,
quality?
I'm staying up to date with technology, and honestly, still the color is better from a T5. You just don't.
We'll see.
We're not going to get into this argument about nanometers and how they work.
We haven't tested the SB Reef Lights, so we're just going to leave it right there, and then we'll get them, and then we'll see.
Then tell them to send me a free light, and I will.
I'm literally no. Now that we got that over there, I'm literally going to be ordering them because the 55 is going underneath it.
Okay.
And then the BML is going on top, and those are going underneath to grow just whatever is going to put in there. And then I have the 2 other racks that are being built.
So you should just get some Oceano canisters, and then it's all in one: temperature, CO2, and then it's cancer filter.
No, maybe. I don't know.
All of a sudden, your life gets easier.
Yeah. If you sell your kids, you can get a Kessel. This is true.
Kessel.
I don't know. All right. So what is the light you recommend for a 20 long that will grow plants like they are on steroids?
Wait, say it again?
You're supposed to be paying attention.
I'm sorry, I was laughing at Jake.
Oh, so what is the light you recommend for a 20 long that will grow plants like they are on steroids?
I mean, my answer will always be the same.
T5s?
T5s, but depending on your budget, there's a lot of different lights. There's a lot of different options. Evan Thomas, Evan, who took the tank from AE. I'm actually trying to
wanted to smash that tank.
Well,
you didn't let me smash that.
I had
tank.
to pay for tolls on the way home.
I would have paid your tolls to have that tank. That would have been a great tank to smash.
It would have been. Well, I'll probably get another one next year, or in October.
Well, this year, yeah. And then we'll smash it.
All right.
Drop it off the second story.
We can do that.
That'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
Oh my God! Can we film it in slow motion?
Yeah. Well, I will go and rent like a slow motion camera from somebody just to be able to get it in slow motion.
Oh, I just got so excited.
Or we can explode it with something. I'm sure you know like 2 chemicals we can mix together that would make it explode.
Oh my God! I just thought of 5 different combinations.
All right,
of
there we go. That's what we're gonna do.
Or we could just do thermite and melt it.
We could do that. Or we could just see how much of each we can do until it melts or disintegrates.
Last time I made thermite, I put a 4-foot hole in the concrete.
Now we're on a bunch of FBI watch lists.
Yeah, right.
Instantly. What plant should I put in an 18 by 6 by 7 tank going for a jungle theme? Ideas?
I mean,
18 inches by 6 by 7. That's not very big. So it's long. It's 18 inches long by 6 inches front to back. It's 7 inches deep. It's a very shallow tank.
I would use a bunch of high-grow Pintafidelia.
That grows so slow, though.
Are you kidding me?
It grows so slow for me.
See, I got under T5s, and I'm trimming it twice a week.
Oh, you would
twice a week.
What kind of water do you have out in Brooklyn?
That's almost RO water.
I swear to God, it's because I have hard water. It's got to be because I have hard water, because I've got Rotala Bonsai in from like somebody on Instagram. His plant was long, like the stems were long, and the leaves were spread out from like where they were growing next to each other. Put it in my tank, now all the leaves are growing like literally like here's a row, and then right above it is another row of leaves. But his were spread out like this.
My pH fluctuates between 7.2 and 6.8.
Yeah, but if you have really soft water,
it's really soft.
I guarantee you.
There's a little bit of fluorite, chloramines, which evaporate after like 12 hours.
Here's for instance the what is it called? Diversifolia. So I had it over there in one of the tanks.
Yeah, it doesn't look very happy.
It started turning purple. Jake took a snippet from it, put it in his RO tank that he runs RO on, and it grew fantastic. It's all.
This is one of the reasons why I don't like getting plants from Florida. That's a conversation we'll have another day. But like, I mean, you have like companies like I know a lot of shops, especially in this area, by like Florida Aquatics. They always have Gibba, which is an awful like parasitic plant.
Gibba's annoying.
It's really annoying. Yeah.
I actually think I got rid of it in both tanks that I had.
That is amazing. I'm really proud of you.
I think it's just
no sarcasm.
I think what was eating my plants, I think also ate the Gibba. I think I just starved the algae eaters
until they ate the Gibba. That's possible.
Until they just started eating whatever they could.
But also they're growing in hard water, so when they transition, you get a lot of really, bad melt. Some plants, being forced to grow into hard water, but you put them in like my water, and they just don't look good. They don't look good for a long time. People always underestimate the amount of nutrients a plant can store, and how long they can go when they're in terrible conditions. So in general, like when I order plants or like talk to Justin, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna order from here." I always try to steer him away from any of the plants from Florida. It's just it's not a good place for them to be growing. If you look at all the other plant growers on the planet, they're not in a hard water, super hot environment. Tangent done.
Yeah. Did we ever answer the question though? The
I said high-grow Pensifidelia.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No,
yeah, that is if you have soft water and you fertilize it well and blast it with light, you will. I mean, I have some growing in the tank by my bed. I probably have to trim it twice a week, and it's every color. The lower leaves are green. The upper leaves are flame red. Sometimes the leaves have a little purple tint to them. They're beautiful, absolutely stunning, and it's just exploding. And the runners are going everywhere. If you have a little bit of driftwood, you can glue it on the driftwood. It'll follow the driftwood. It'll take over your tank.
It's a good plant. It just does not grow fast for me.
No, well, you need to soften your water.
Well, I have an RO unit now.
Oh. So you can take a little bit home with me?
No.
Okay.
Do you have a container?
No.
Wow.
Just use a bottle. I have carnivorous plants that I
okay. Well, yeah, sure. Actually, I have a 1 gallon jug. You can.
I don't even need a gallon. I just want to live. I'll take a gallon. Yeah.
Well, whatever you want. My answer to what plant would work good in that, because it's not super tall, I would probably do narrow leaf sage. It gets taller than most like dwarf sage and broadleaf sage, but it looks like a vowel, so to give a nice.
It's not really jungly though. That's more like prairie.
Oh, I guess. That's true. You're right. I mean, but you could argue that it's like a bush and whatever. I don't know. Parrot's feather.
Back to parrot's feather. It's a shallow tank.
No. Well, I mean, you would trim it every single day, and you'd have a new stem. So, how do I get black fuzzy stuff from growing on my wood? I've been cleaning it, but it just keeps growing back. Black fuzzy stuff. Are you talking about Blackbeard algae? If that's the case, hydrogen peroxide it.
Yeah, don't scrape it.
Yeah, you don't want to. So whenever you have algae, you don't want to scrape it or remove it, like so it breaks apart. You want to try and remove it and catch it all, or just destroy it with hydrogen peroxide and kill it. How do you know if your water is hard or soft?
Well, it starts with your pH. The pH is above 7. That's when you should get a hint that it's hard, and then you get a GHKH calculator. The API test is like $5, and general hardness, and then calcium hardness is KH, GH. Hardness is the amount of dissolved minerals that's in your water. Unless you're in Sulawesi where it's high pH with the low dissolved solids, then it's pretty easy to test.
Kevin, where is a good place to get a Hortilux and a Spectralux T5s?
I would honestly just go shopping online. T5s now are becoming harder and harder to find. I'm not exactly sure. I'm a Geisman man. Always.
Let's see. Any plants other than Val that you recommend for a Tanganyika biotope?
I mean, are there any plants really that are readily available for Tanganyika biotope? I mean, you have the waterline plants, but a biotope, Lake Tanganyika, that's pretty barren, isn't it?
I think so. That's where the shell dwellers come from,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I think
Tanganyika.
I would have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. But I would imagine a lot of sand, a lot of rocks. Maybe a few different kinds of lilies grow.
Are they, Lake Tanganyika, that would be a higher pH, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say you could do almost.
I mean, Denarel has those crypts that are designed to be in hard water. Phineas.
A Phineas?
Mm-hmm.
Phineas?
Mm-hmm. Phineas?
I haven't.
Yeah, that's designed to be in harder water.
Mm. Crypt Balagnese did really well.
Yeah.
Like, super well. So. Is that infrared thermometer you use reliable and accurate, and what brand is it? It is an E-Tech City infrared. ETEKCITY. It is pretty reliable. I wouldn't assume that, like, if this pointed out there and it said 70 degrees, I would assume that this is 1 or 2 degrees off, probably colder. Yeah, colder. So I don't, it's not exactly, it depends on where you aim it. Like, if you aim it at the back of the glass, it's going to shoot through and read the temperature of a wall. It's not reading what it is. What you want to do is you want to shine it on, like, a rock. But you can't shine it through the glass. You need to shoot it from the top down and onto, like, a rock or the top of the sand. Even though the sand is going to be a little bit colder than the rest of the tank. It's not going to be the same temperature as the water. So you want to try and do it, like, off a rock, a piece of wood, a plant, something that is in the water that you can read the temperature off of, because those will be the temperature of the water. The sand will not. The sand will hold. The sand's always colder, for one, because heat rises and cold sinks, so it'll absorb cold water and be cooler, so it wouldn't give you an accurate reading if you're pointing it at sand or gravel. So other than that, it works pretty well.
I got 2 questions I want to answer.
Sure.
Academia Aquatica, is there anywhere other than the internet to get glass acrylic lids? Tons of glass cutters. Just go to a glass cutter. Don't use acrylic. Acrylic will warp under light after a while. So definitely get glass, and just call a glass cutter. It's probably cheaper than the internet anyway.
Would you say? Oh, go ahead. You had another.
And then there was another one. We got to find it. It was about glass or screen. Oh, Famous Jones. What is the difference between using a glass cover versus screen cover at the top of the tank? Screen will diffuse light. That is the nature of a screen. So if you want to blast more light and try to get it through the screen, then go for it. But otherwise, you're going to actually lose a lot of light, sometimes up until 75%, depending on it. Think about it in the summertime when you're looking through a screen at a slight angle, it looks gray.
Yeah.
It's because literally the screen is blocking the light.
I take off the moss that's on the wood or put it in the peroxide too. I would probably take the moss off, because peroxide will kill the moss if it.
Yeah.
So, like, I've sprayed moss with hydrogen peroxide while it's in the water, like still in water, and it dilutes it enough to not kill the moss. Or
That's
at
what
least,
I do all the time.
Yeah, at least not a lot of it. It will kill some of it, but if you, like, do a direct dip, it's gonna kill it. So.
I mean, peroxide weakens cell walls. That is the nature of peroxide.
Yeah. How are the shell dwellers doing? Actually, pretty good. What's up, guys? I got a question for Kevin. What is a reliable, inexpensive CO2 regulator? I understand you get what you pay for. However, I don't have a very big budget to spend on a regulator. I know you just got the UNS one.
Yeah, I just got the UNS one.
I
haven't had a chance to test it.
Okay. Because I haven't ordered it yet. I was thinking about it. They had it. And...
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was just talking about this on Saturday when I was doing the unboxing. I got an Aquatech regulator, the paintball regulator, for under $100. I've had it for a couple of years now. It's original solenoid. I haven't had to replace the solenoid. It's reliable. It's really difficult to dial in, especially with my meat mitts, because it's very, very sensitive. But once you dial it in, it's in. And not only that, but it's dual gauge. One of the things that really bothers me is I like Greenleaf aquariums. I do not like their paintball regulators. It is total hogwash that you pay $184 for a paintball regulator, and there is no pressure gauge for the tank. So you have to physically pick it up to see or notice that, you know, it's starting to dump. This really bothers me. So I don't... So you spend almost $100 less on a regulator that is just as good, has a gauge where you can walk by and you can see it, the needle's in the red, okay, I got to unhook it, it's going to dump, and I need to get it filled again. So the Aquatech paintball regulator, honestly, it's awesome. And I've dropped this thing, I kicked it once by accident, and it's fine. It's never failed me.
Alright. I have an 18 cardinal tetras and a 20 long planted. I'm running peat moss in the filter and using Kotappa Leaves. My pH is steady at 8.2 to 8. I know cardinals like 6.5. Should I try Seachem acid buffer, or should I just leave it?
Well, in general, don't screw with your fish too much. Don't make the water parameters jump up and down. Yeah.
The problem with it is if your water's coming out at 8.2, 8, when you do water changes, assuming that you do, they're going to drop, or they're going to raise the pH back up. Yeah. So even if you get to 6.5, you do one water change, it's instantly going to jump up to like 7.5. And then you're going to have to work to get it back down. Unless you start using like RO strips pH, right? Yeah. So if you start using RO water, then you would essentially have neutral, and then whatever you're putting in there will drop.
The Kotappa Leaves and the peat will wear off after time. So eventually, like as the tannins are completely dumped into your tank, it's going to creep back up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't keep stuff in the water that you have.
Yeah. Usually you want to get the right fish for the type of water you have. But I mean, like, you know, like say you had something that prefers 6.5, but yours is at a 7. That's reasonable. But you're at a very, like, dramatic difference because you're a whole 1.5, which, what is it? It's 10 times? Every point you drop is 10 times?
10 degrees?
10, yeah, 10, like a pH of 7 is 10 times less acidic than a pH of 6, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Wow, I should know that.
Yeah. So you're essentially at 15 times, I think it is, 15 times more acidic, or 15 times less acidic than where they would need to be. So I wouldn't go with screwing it, but I would maybe look at getting a different fish that would fit your tank better.
And if the fish are surviving and they're happy in that high of a pH, then they're probably not wild caught.
Yeah, I mean, if they're tank raised, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Because through years of breeding and generations, the fish have adjusted, if they're tank bred, to tank conditions where, you know, they may not necessarily need 6.5, maybe they're used to 7. So then you're not too far off.
I mean, until I became friends with Rachel O'Leary, and I started actually caring about my fish health, no judging here. Like, I cared, but like not like I do now. I used to have fish survive for years in probably conditions I shouldn't have. And I talked to Rachel about it, and she's like, well, if they're tank raised, a lot of times they're a lot more adaptable than you think.
How much peroxide to water should I do? Well, if you're doing... So I wouldn't really do a huge dip. You're probably just going to waste it, unless it's completely covered. Actually, no.
I would
if the wood's
spot treat.
Yeah, well, so if the wood is completely covered, I wouldn't even waste hydrogen peroxide. I would take it out, take all the plants that are growing on it off, and boil the wood.
I'd vinegar dip it.
Or vinegar dip it.
I've had moss and algae come back after boiling.
Most mosses will. I mean, it's just you're gonna wipe them out, and then they'll start regrowing. Yeah. I mean, they regrow even if they're brown.
I'd do vinegar and then do a really good rinse.
Yeah. I wouldn't even waste the hydrogen peroxide in that case if you're just gonna take the whole wood out. Or just spot treat. If it's a couple spots, spot treat it with I use pipettes or syringes, and you can just do it that way. If I used RO water, do I need to remineralize it to use it? Yes, you do. Alright, I think that's it. Unless there's any other questions. We're in an hour and 10 minutes.
Are we? Wow, so it's so fast this time.
Yeah. Well, that's because we went on a 30-minute light rant.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, what light don't you like again?
Kessel. Yes, and you know what? Somebody did ask. No, I've never been able to grow red plants from Kessel. All the plants, because of the lack of red in the spectrum, look brown.
Interesting. Yeah. Kessel's going to see this and be like, who sent him a light?
Oh, I mean...
It's all Kevin's fault. It wasn't me. I offered to try it. Kevin has formulated his own opinion.
I have facts and data.
Okay, all right. We're not gonna go on that tangent again. Is that it? You got any other ones?
No, Jake's just backing up. I am sorry. Aquatech paintballs are selling at $135 on their website, so I guess they've gone up in price.
No. How's Margaret and the baby doing? Jenny Lee asked. They're doing great, except the baby has been fussy the last 3 days. She has not been sleeping a whole lot, which means we're not sleeping a whole lot. Or at least Margaret's not sleeping a whole lot.
Kevin Rosenberg, just one more question. Going back to the pH being high, you need to look at what you have in your tank to be raising the pH. If the pH coming out of your tap is 7.6 and it's going up to over 8, that means there's something affecting your tank. I don't like Eco-Complete. I've had a lot of problems with Eco-Complete. When I am forced to use it, I rinse the crap out of it, and I end up getting rid of it halfway through every tank's life anyway.
I use Eco-Complete. I have no problems. Okay.
But, I mean, Kevin, if there must be something in your tank that's raising your pH if your tap is that low.
Yeah, especially he's saying he has driftwood, which driftwood would lower your pH. He says his tap is 7.6 out of tap.
Yeah, that's what I just read.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How do you remineralize RO water? Depends on what you need to remineralize it as. Salty shrimp or salty B, I think is the other one. They both raise GH and KH. So, is madrone wood that's a bit weathered in the wild okay for tank? Madrone?
I'll look it up right now. I have an iPad. Is anybody going to the NEC this year?
NEC?
National Cichlid or Northeastern Cichlid Association. I'll be. I think I'm competing in the aquascaping contest. I'm not sure.
Jake says, obviously you have problems with it if you can't carpet MC, Justin. You know what? Screw you, Jake. I'm convinced it's the hard water. We're going to switch all the tanks over to RO water.
Madrone wood is a hardwood, and it's not a non-conifer, and it looks pretty good to go. It's real pretty. Nice red color. So yes, that would be the answer. Would be yes.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh. Very nice.
I would just make sure that there's no sap left. I forget what salt you use, but you can actually soak the wood in a salt bath which is a dry bath. You just put the salt on a little bit down on top, a little bit on top till it's completely covered. Let it sit in there for a week or so, and then you rinse it off really, really well. As soon as it's done leaching the salts, then make sure there's no sap left in it. It should be good to go.
Say Madrone is a relative of the Manzanita. It grows in the Pacific Northwest. Facebiter says, I have a couple questions. We're about to end this, Facebiter, so we're 13 minutes over our time limit.
So pick one question.
So pick one really good question, and that's the last question we're gonna answer, because we got a tank to fill, and Margaret will kill me if I'm down here all night playing with the fishes.
You can email me at what is it again?
Escapes at hshowplants.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think my clams are just hiding because what the hell are they? Did my ghost shrimp Highlander all of the others? What? I'm confused. What were you, clams? You have freshwater clams?
Yeah, freshwater clams.
I know, I've seen them.
I used to keep them. They used to do really, really well.
Well, freshwater clams bury into the substrate.
Right. They don't do well with aqua soil or eco complete. You have to make sure they're in sand.
Oh.
If they die though, they'll bomb your whole tank. Like if they die in the substrate, once their body gets in the water column, they're so nasty when they die that it'll poison your whole tank.
Somebody notices my ESO shirt. No, I unfortunately don't play anymore.
ESO?
Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, I don't have much time to play video games anymore. My time consists of now baby, Margaret, plants, videos, soon to be off-roading with the Forerunner.
Maybe sleep.
Maybe sleep if I'm lucky. Oh, and working a full job on top of all that. A full-time job, so yeah. Jake says, you wore that shirt on Tuesday. I actually have 2 of these, Jake. I do have 2 of these.
I'm not judging. I didn't see it on Tuesday.
Oh, this is true. And actually, Margaret hasn't put away all the laundry. Actually, she did it today. She put away all the laundry. She puts away the laundry. She puts it away so nice. I can't put away the laundry. Okay.
Yeah, I used to live with a girl who did all the laundry. Wouldn't let me do it. It was nice.
Do Monte Carlos need CO2?
No.
I mean, mine's not growing incredibly fast with CO2 and highlight, but then again, I think that's hard water. I think if I switch that tank over to soft water, it'll be good. We're going to start doing that.
Okay.
I'm going to start switching out the 50. Well, when we get into the 75, we're going to do all our
I mean, Monte Carlo for me is like a tank. It goes through everything.
Yeah.
I have my Monte Carlo's flowering. I can show you a picture.
I swear the last ghost shrimp killed the others. I'm not sure with that. But, alright guys, we're going to wrap this up because we're over our time limit. Subscribe as always. Check Kevin out at Brooklyn Hardscape. Oh, nice. It's flowering. That's cool. We will, no, actually, maybe next week. I don't know. I'll have to see.
Let me know. I'll come down next week.
Alright. Gotta ask Margaret. Gotta clear it with the boss.
I'll bribe her with stuff.
Okay. Bring her Gucci bags and stuff, and she'll be good.
Alright, I'm gonna get my black mask and a baseball bat.
Oh, there you go. Alright, guys. Check out Kevin. Remember, he's gonna be live streaming tomorrow on his channel.
Yes, please check me out. We'll be talking about aquascaping.
It's on, if you need to find him, find Brooklyn Hardscapes on Instagram, and then he'll send you the link. Is it in your profile on Instagram? Okay. So there you go. Alright, guys. See you later.